Hey there everybody, it's Missy again. Thanks for joining me today. I am back with a new layout for the Hip Kit Club, and I'm using the 2017 April kits for this. And I wanted to start out using some of these rub-ons from Vicki Boutin. I tried one in a couple of layouts ago, and it didn't work out that great because I tried to rub it on top of some gesso and spray inks and things like that, and so you couldn't really see it. And as you can see, it's hard to see the designs because they're almost clear. And so I thought, well, I'm going to try them on plain white cardstock, no gesso, no nothing on the cardstock, and kind of create a background using a lot of these rub-ons, and then I'm going to see if they will show up when I rub the art crayons on top of them. And usually rub-ons will act as a resist, and so that means whenever you rub them on like this and then you put some paint or some spray inks on top of it, you can see all the spray around the rub-on, and the actual rub-on will show through because it's resisting the mixed media products. So that's kind of my idea here, and you can't even really see it. You can kind of see some of the shine. So what I'm going to do is just start taking these crayons and scribbling them on top of the rub-ons and just using my finger to smudge. And the color is going to smudge onto the cardstock behind or in between all the rub-on shapes. And the rub-ons kind of resisted. You can kind of see some of the shapes, but not as well as I was hoping. I was hoping that they would kind of stand out and be a little more white, but they almost looked a little bit gray. And I may be doing this completely wrong. See, you can kind of see them, but they didn't just jump off the page like I was hoping. And it still creates a really cool background look and artsy, kind of messy design. And they smudge really well, and I really like how these crayons, they smudge very nicely. I like blending the reds and the yellows and the oranges together, and I even add a little bit of the red in there, and I think this is a really cool look. And yeah, so it's very different. I like it. You can kind of make out some of the shapes, but it's very muted. And so I'm going to use this as a base for my background, and I'm going to use this black and white picture of my daughter down at the pool, and I just thought that the black and white would kind of contrast against all these bright colors. And there was a lot of dark in the picture anyway because she was sitting in front of a dark green hedge, and so it wasn't really a super bright picture, and so I converted it to black and white. Now I fussy cut some of those Crate Paper Maggie Holmes flowers. I didn't really have a finished product in mind with this layout. It was just kind of a, let's just kind of add some things as I go and see how it looks. And I thought that those flowers kind of matched the background that I had going, and I know it's a lot of pink, but I do add other colors in as I go. And I'm going to bring in some aqua. I'm going to use that Project Life card behind my picture as a blue layer, and then I'm just going to play around with a lot of the embellishments. This is that really pretty, almost kaleidoscope looking pattern. This is one of the chipboard frames from Paige Evans' Oh My Heart. And then this little piece I saved from when I used the rest of the Project Life card. I cut this part out, and now I'm going to take some time and fussy cut around this little flower wreath and use that. I'm going to use this Project Life card as another layering piece. And then that little circle that's kind of shining there with my lights, that is one of the Pink Fresh Studio acetate pieces. There was a pack of those in our kits, and I believe it's The Mix is the name of the collection, and they're all really bright, fun tags and circles and little label shapes, and they're all clear, and they all have really bright colors on them. And so I've already got that one attached to some vellum. I was going to use it on a previous project but never did, and so it's already got some vellum behind it, because I'm going to add it on top of my picture. And if there was nothing behind it, you wouldn't be able to read it because of the dark background of my picture. So that's why I backed it. I'm going to kind of layer the flower clusters underneath the picture there. And I want to work in that wreath somewhere. And I know it kind of blends in, but I like the pop of color that it gives. And before I glue anything else down, I did add that, or glue the frame down. I'm going to add some thread here, and I'm going to use some aqua and some yellow. And back to the background, let me say that this was a wonderful technique for making sure your page doesn't warp. And I know a lot of people shy away from using anything mixed media related because they don't like when their paper warps. It personally doesn't bother me that much, but I know some people, I've heard a lot of them say, you know, I don't like the paper to warp. And so I didn't use anything wet on this page. I did the rub-ons and then I smudged the crayons on with my fingers, and everything was dry. And so my paper is still completely flat. And so this is a great thing to do if you don't want your page to warp at all, because you're not using anything liquid. So I decided that that little circle needed to be a little bit whiter, and so I attached it to some white cardstock, and now you can really read what it says, and it says happiness looks gorgeous on you, and I just thought that was cute. Now I'm just kind of get into the details, you know, small details with a lot of the embellishments. This is one of the My Mind's Eye sticker sheets. There's a whole little sheet of those labels, and I'm just going to cut the white part out and use the pink as the little layer at the top. This is another one of the Vicky Boutin stickers that you can color, and I'd actually already colored that blue one with some gelato for a previous project. It might have been in my previous hip kit or the one before that. I know it was a hip kit layout, but I don't remember which one, but I wound up not using it, so I still had it, and I just used blue gelatos to color that. I did use that little rainbow, and that is from the Pink Fresh Studio chipboard stickers, and I'm going to use this little leatherette sticker too, not right this second, but it will come back. These are the My Mind's Eye puffy stickers. I'm going to use a couple of those. I think one of my favorite things about these kits, especially this month, is there are so many things from different brands and different collections. I mean, you've got several different collections, and they all go so nicely together. I love that. And then you've got the things like this, the exclusive pieces. I'm going to cut this little piece out that says "You Make Me," and then you're supposed to fill in the blank. And this was the fun part of this layout, I think, was just kind of going through all the bits and pieces and seeing what matched. I cut a few of those little teeny tiny hearts out. I'm just going to kind of start to place little things around all the flowers and the photo. I decided that I needed some more yellow. I'm going to color this little piece. It's a little banner shape, and it says "Laugh Often," and I'm going to complete my sentence with that. So it says "You make me laugh often," and I wanted some yellow up there, so I colored it yellow, and then I figured I should have some yellow down here in this corner and this corner over here. So I just scribbled and smudged, and there you go. It's really easy to add color with these crayons. And you know, you don't have to use your finger. You could also use a brush and dab it in some water and use it that way as well. Now these are the exclusive stickers. They're chipboard, and for whatever reason I was having trouble getting the backing off, and so every time I would get the backing to come off, the sticky part would actually come off, and so I'm gonna have to wind up gluing these down. And I'm gonna be really generic with my title, and it's gonna be "Hey Sunshine," and a lot of people call Paige Sunshine, so you know, it's kind of one of her little nicknames. And I'm going to use the sunshine from this Maggie Holmes Gold Puffy Alpha sticker pack. And I'm going to glue those letters down first. And I love the colors of those. I love that light aqua and then the mix with the metallic gold. Very pretty. And I like how that pops off the background since it's on top of pink and orange. It took me a while to figure out how I was going to get sunshine angled on there. I didn't want it to run off the page. And the word was broken up into 3 pieces, and so I couldn't really just stick it down. I had to kind of play with all 3 parts of it. And I wind up loving how it looks. I kind of angle it, and I like how that looks. I overlap the H on top of the E, and I think that looks pretty. So now I'm going to just start to sort through some more of the embellishments. That's the Oh My Heart chipboard sticker sheet. I'm going to use a couple of the hearts. And I like how I decided to cut that blue flower in half. And that's a great way to get your embellishments to last longer, is cut them in half. And it looks like I had 2 of them, but I really just made that one stretch from one side of the page to the other. Those are some little circles from the Vicki Boutin sticker sheet, and I'm going to leave those black and white. I like how they kind of pull the black from the picture. And I'm going to wind up using a couple more of the stickers, and I'm not going to color them. I'm going to leave them as is to add little pops of black. So I'm just going to keep going through everything. I don't add a whole lot more. I am going to wind up using that little sticker. I thought about using it earlier and then put it back, and so it worked out. I'm going to add Be Silly here underneath Hey Sunshine because she is very silly all the time, and she's just, yeah, she's a little pint-sized comedian is what she is. So she's always being silly. So I'm going to add a couple of little chipboard hearts, make sure that they are glued down because they did not want to stick on top of those rub-ons. And I know I covered up most of the rub-on shapes, but like I said, I couldn't really see them that well. And they were kind of a random shape anyway. They weren't anything significant that I felt contributed to the meaning of the layout. And so I just kind of went for it. Now I'm going to use some of the sequins that were also in the kit. Those are exclusive, and there's really pretty blues, pinks, yellows. So I'm going to just scatter some of those around the page and then come back in with a couple more of these Vicki Boutin stickers. And this part, I love that I did this. Now, it was kind of hard. I had to use a little bit of strength to punch, but I'm going to punch out some tiny little glitter circles from this acetate sheet. This was one of the specialty papers in the paper kit. And I just wanted some little gold dots scattered around the page. And so my punch didn't want to punch, but I just had to squeeze it really tight, and it punched out a couple of those. And I thought that the gold was nice because I've got, in the Hey Sunshine, I've got lots of gold, and so I thought I would kind of echo that and scatter some gold around the page. And I'm going to add a little bit of journaling. And my pens were giving me problems. I need to buy some new ones, but I finally found one that worked, and I got my hair done. It's way blonde. I haven't had my hair done since October, so hopefully it's not too blonde and it didn't blind you. I'm still getting used to it. Final thing I'm going to do is add some striped crate paper at the top and the bottom just to give the page a little something else. I know I've been using a lot of white for my backgrounds lately, and I just kind of let the white run off the page, and I don't do a lot to the top or bottom, and so I thought I would go a little bit differently here and add some of this pink stripe at the top and the bottom, and I like how that looks, and I don't really do that enough. And sometimes I feel like doing it and sometimes I don't. It just depends on the day, the layout, and how I feel. So I felt like adding the border. Now this is also in one of our kits. This is the Vicki Boutin sentiment stamp, and I'm going to add a couple of little sayings here and now, and I think it says love you. And yeah, I added a couple more stickers and a little bit of stitching, and that's the final layout. I really like how this turned out, even though the rub-ons didn't really turn out like I thought. And again, I could be doing them totally wrong, but I like how they kind of created a cool background beginning for me. And I love all these colors. I know I say that all the time, but I do. I really love all these bright colors and how all these embellishments and papers work together so nicely. Kimberly does such a great job of putting all these kits together. So let me know if you have any questions about anything that I did or any of the products. Make sure you visit hipkitclub.net. The link is below. And thank you guys so much. I'll see you in the next video.